I'd like to talk, first of all, a little bit about discussion we had last night. I thought about something to explain a little bit more about the soul and ego and Atma. I think the question is, it's not important in one way whether it exists or not. The important thing is, as long as we hold on that something exists, that is the problem. Then we get stuck to a reference. And to the point that is so clearly, shown on the Bodhisattva teaching. The Bodhisattva on the 10th bhumi, like the first bhumi, second bhumi, third bhumi, fourth, fifth, sixth, and the 10th, which is the last stage for the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva's intention that I need to attain full enlightenment, that, I need to attain enlightenment, holding to that is the problem for the Bodhisattva. That is the last obstacle for the Bodhisattva from fully awakening into enlightened state. So as long as we believe in an Atma, or we believe in a soul, and we believe in some sense of I, holding to that idea is what, bondage us, bind us to samsara. And when we are able to let go that holding, grasping, we are free. That is the point here. So, if we kind of think that, it exists, then definitely we're grasping to that. And if we say it doesn't exist, then we fall to another extreme, and we can have a fear and we entertain in that, and I don't exist. Something, we like to have some kind of something to lean on, or some kind of reference point, or something to feel that we exist. So whether we believe in it doesn't exist, that again creates some kind of holding to it doesn't exist. And if we believe in it exists, then obviously there is a problem. As long as the grasping is there, that is the main blockage here for liberation. The mind has to be completely free. So as long as we hold on to anything, that is the problem. So I think that's the message here. Clearly, even a bodhisattva on the 10th level, he or she has to let go that I need to attain full enlightenment, grasping to that. So I think that is the message. So we don't need to be, at the moment when our dualistic mind is so strong, then if we can project, definitely we can say grasping is not good, ego is not right. But then the question could come, if nothing exists, then how is the question of reincarnation? How is the question of doing good for what, and abandoning bad for what reason? We're doing good for what reason? All that question can come. But then the whole thing finally sums up to that as long as we grasp something exists, or we even grasp something doesn't exist, that is the problem. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that is the point. Yeah. So I thought I should clarify that. Definitely, as long as we live in samsara, as long as our mind comes into the framework of duality, there is karma. In fact, that karma is such that we can never trick the karma, or we can never escape from the karma. Each and every individual, whatever karma, whether it's good or whether it's bad, it will only experience on that consciousness, on the very mind which has created that karma. You know, each and every person, whatever karma we create, we have to experience it personally, what I meant. No one can take that karma from us. No one can steal your karma, neither you can give your karma, nor you can share your karma. You have to go through by yourself. So from that point, the Buddha emphasized that karma, the law of the universe, is such that you cannot escape from that. The karma will not mature in the sky, it will not mature in the earth, it will not mature in the ocean, it will not mature in the mountains, it will mature on the body which your consciousness holds. Whether it's a form of a human, whether it's a form of an animal, whether it's a form of a demigod, whether it's a form of animal or spirit dream, whatever our karma that, you know, our karma makes us, we have to go through experiencing pain or pleasure, good or bad, whatever. Each and every person has to experience their own karma, and it's irrevocable. No one can take it away. No one can change it. Even Buddhas can't help it. If you created karma, you have to experience that, whatever it is. No one can alter that. Only who can alter it, change it, is you. Your compassion can change it. Your compassion can purify that. Because after all, why? Because karma is a condition, and condition can be changed through, through your conditional thoughts and conditional mind, because it's created by your conditional mind. So certain karmas are so strong that, as I was explaining yesterday, that the past Buddhas have came and shown that being the beast, that particular, it was actually a monk who, I believe, the one who was born as a beast. And the story was that the group of monk was offered a donation by a group of traders. And this monk, he just kept it for himself and didn't share with others. And when they asked him the question, oh, how come you don't share, it's given to all of us? And he got very angry and he said, you know, it was just given to me, not to you guys. And taking the wealth of this Sangha is so heavy karma. And because of that, his anger and his aggression and his not sharing it, you know, that karma make him be born as a beast. And a beast to the point that the 4 Buddhas have came and they couldn't do anything. And the Buddhas in the future will come and also show their student, look what happened to this being. Showing, you know, it's just like really raising your whole hair to think about how karma is sometimes. You know. So, karma is irrevocable. We can never alter it, we can never change it. Each and every person has to go through that. So therefore we have to be very careful, mindfulness. Be aware of our actions, and be aware of our thoughts. Developing positive thoughts, developing compassionate awareness is so important, because this is what we are creating our future. Our present thoughts, present action, you know, present speech directed by our thoughts is what creates our future. So therefore, one has to be very careful with the karma. If we try to disregard karma, we try to be frivolous with that, it can be very painful. So in one way, as we are talking, you know, the Atma doesn't exist, the soul doesn't exist, the ego doesn't exist. In some ways, it sounded like we have a free ride now, we can do whatever we want. But that's not, there is an ultimate level, the essence is free. But as long as conditionally we are caught in that, we have to respect that because it's so real. Even this is a fleeting illusory experience. Dream is a fleeting illusory experience. There's no reality in dream, there's no reality right now also in this. But we experience pain and pleasure quite real in this non-real state. So, therefore, there has to be certain respect paid to that. Because nobody wants to go through this suffering and pain, even at this point, at this moment. And that's why karma, the law of karma, our positive thoughts, positive actions become very important. So it's like that. I get overwhelmed by looking at this page and how I'm going to explain the whole thing all the time. Just like which page to turn and which page not to turn, which page to read and which page not to read in this short span of time. And yesterday I look at the page, there was 680 pages, and how I'm going to do that? And I try to not to think about it, because if I don't think about it, it affects me how to which one to read. Okay. How to, in the flash of lightning and in a flash of lightning in the dark of night, the part of part second, the chapter second, called Offering and Purification. In Offering and Purification, the precious mind of bodhicitta does not arise without a cause, And in order to arise the precious mind within our heart, that we need to accumulate a great strength of merit. That's where the part Offering and Purification comes. The offering to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the ones who have abandoned all neurosis, the ones who have embark on the path of concern for others, totally concern for others, which is the way of the Bodhisattva. That thinking of their benefits, thinking of their happiness, thinking of their enlightenment, and dedicating oneself for that as long as it takes, and tirelessly, no matter how difficult the task is, to work with somebody else, but you're not afraid to work with that. And that kind of mental attitude, strength, altruistic motivation, altruistic motivation is what makes our karma purified. And that kind of thought, benefit of being, arise or bodhicitta, it doesn't come with a cause, it comes with a cause of merit. So therefore, traditionally, one goes to a shrine, one goes to, like, in the presence of a Buddha's form, like a presence of Buddha's statue or tanka or teacher, and then one make an offering of flowers, offering of incense, an offering of whatever, one can visualize from one's heart, like beauty, the sound, the sights, and then one offer to the Buddhas, and then, one offer to the Buddhas so that we could also have arise in our heart the mind of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, which they have committed themselves on the path, to benefit being. So we also pray and make aspiration that that kind of mind, may awaken in my heart so that I can make a wholesome life, that praying that my life will not be unwholesome, but my life can be wholesome, where I can act on the way of the Bodhisattva and follow that path through 4 immeasurable and 6 paramactics. That's how one makes that kind of dedication and commitments in one's heart. So offering and purification, that is. Offering to the Buddhas whatever beauties one can visualize from one's mind. Flowers, incense, water, so and so, And then also one can make offerings, because we were talking about yesterday, rejoice, The rejoice is not something that not only you can rejoice in something you are connected with, but something which is outside of your life, like someone else joy, someone else happiness, which has nothing particularly to do with you. Even by rejoicing in someone else outside of you, you gain merit. Something connected personally to you, of course there is merit, like your family and friends, their happiness, you rejoice. There is great merit. But something which is none other than your friend and families, something, let's say, a stranger, like other people, or the happiness of a country, the well-being of a people of another country, or someone else act of compassion. Let's suppose, like in Africa, the group of musicians going there and helping and raising money and trying to benefit through their work, and which will feed millions of people, like rejoicing, all that kind of positive action, one can gain tremendous merit out of that. So even in offering, there is an offering which you own and offering which you don't own. Offering which you own is your personal wealth, that you make offering according to what you can afford and according to what you feel like. But offering which you don't possess, like you go to a supermarket and then you notice all the flowers, and then you can just offer the flowers to the Buddhas. And you offer the flowers to the Buddhas so that the owner and the all beings may achieve enlightenment and happiness by offering that to the Buddhas. You're not particularly concerned of yourself, but you're concerned of the person, the others, including the owners, and may all achieve happiness through offering. You can offer that from your mind. You can offer the universe from your mind. And that kind of mind creates tremendous, it lays the foundation for tremendous merit and tremendous positivity to grow in your heart. So therefore, the offering and purification comes like that. Which you own and which you don't own, one can offer that with pure heart. And through that, and by offering, then one gains merit. There are 2 kinds of merit. One is relative merit and one is ultimate merit. The relative merit, through gaining relative merit, one can have long life, well-being, strength, and glory and such thing. That's the effect of relative merit. As well as being reborn as a human being, that's relative merit. Not only reborn as a human being, but have all the leisurely condition, the condition that you're connected with the Dharma, that you're connected with the thought of compassion, that you're not fallen into a state that where you disregard other human beings, where you begin to have discrimination on sex, where you begin to look down on others. You know, you have a mind which respects all being equally with respect. Even you have certain disagreement, but fundamentally you have respect and love and care and concern for others. That is a very precious human rebirth, because not every human being has that kind of thought, and they don't act on that, they don't have thought like that, and it's very difficult to keep that level of sanity and to grow like that. So what is the cause not to become discrepancy, you know, or disabled, you know, have that kind of discrimination, have looking down, not only looking down and have discrimination, but like having a sense of arrogance on top of that. You know, that kind of negativity which one would plant is a lack of merit. When the merit is strong, you don't end up in the wrong place. That's the thing. When your merit is strong, it takes you to the right place. You know, you have the right thought. You know, even there are little difficulties happens, but it will always get you back to the right place, because you have the strength, your compassion, your concern, your love, and that's what is the healing, and that's what is like the magnetizing or for all the good and for all the great to grow in your life. So merit is extremely important. After all, pain and pleasure, or everything is a question of merit. You know, definitely, I think, you know, in one way, to be born in America is great merit in one way. It's a merit, but not totally in some way, because there are so many people, those who are engaged in negative thoughts and negative action, those people are deprived of, you know, merit also. It's merit to be born in a free country, but it takes a stronger merit to be compassionate. You know? It requires much stronger merit to be that. Though everyone is equal to have the opportunity in this big field of America to grow freedom. But then some chooses a positive path and some chooses a negative path. You know, even nobody really wish to choose a negative path intentionally, you know. And those who do harm to others, do negative things to others, they also don't think they are particularly doing it. And if they realize they are doing it, at some point they could stop it. But the thing is, they don't really think they're doing it. You know, whatever the karma is. Sometimes people have to go through that. But the thing is, you know, when a person engage in a negative path and a negative karma, then the result is suffering, you know, not only in this lifetime, but also in the future. So therefore, it requires tremendous merit. Like, merit is like, is an energy, you know. Merit is an energy which takes you and makes you grow on that field, that which makes your life very strong and powerful and rich. And without merit, then once the merit begins to lose, then we get attracted to negative things. When the merit is strong, we get attracted to the positive qualities, because merit transcends the poverty mentality. There could be some, very rich people too, but they could still have poverty mentality. And sometimes the wealth seems to be harming certain people than benefiting certain people. And sometimes there are people who don't have much wealth, material wealth, but very satisfied and very happy and very content with life. Karma is just like, hard to describe. Some have merit to gain it, to enjoy it. Some have merit to enjoy it, even they don't have much. It's hard, it's a phenomenal thing, you know. If you look into the life, it's just like hard to describe the question of merit is. And then, you know, some feel so rich and so their whole life is in peace. There is inner peace and joy, and you know, they feel so content. And after all, finally, who are we going to trust? The inner satisfaction, inner peace, or seems to have wealth and not really feeling content with that. The internal is more powerful, because that's what really makes your life wholesome. So merit, you know, when you have strong merit, your mind is, you know, you're in a situation, a condition which makes you feel no fear in life. It empowers you with the strength, however you are. And of course there could be some level of fear until you get totally enlightened. The fear is not going to go no matter how, to anyone. As long as one is born in samsara, there will always be a certain level of fear, certain level of dissatisfaction. It happens to the rich, to the poor, to the humans, to the non-humans, to everyone, you know, regardless of sex, you know, regardless of one's status, regardless of who one is, always a sense of dissatisfaction, always a sense of not knowing, always a sense of, you know, bewilderment. That is the nature of samsara, the power of ignorance. But when we have a lot of merit, even ignorance is there, but at least it puts you in a state, a condition in your life experience which makes you go beyond the, you know, so many mental poverty and, you know, so many levels of poverty, and it gives you, you know, able to open up, able to share, and able to just being there freely, and things happens to you in the right way. That is the power of merit. There is tremendous power. What the positive karma is about, bodhicitta is about, relative compassion is about. There is truth in that, and it's flawless in that truth. One time, I was with one of my teacher, and he said, "It's always good to give when you meet, you know, when somebody's in need of help. Try to help them as much as you can. It increases your merit." Any kind of good things, you know, we try to do through your action, whether, you know, you know, cleaning a shrine room, you know, not thinking, oh, this is like I have to do, but with delight, you know, this is where everyone will come to hear the Dharma, and they will learn to purify their negativities. They will learn how to increase their merit. And so doing with delight and trying to create the proper clean environment, that also is a tremendous merit. Trying to help someone who has no food to eat, that's a tremendous merit. Any kind of action and thought which will benefit someone is tremendous merit. And that's the power, the truth of the karma. So offering, you know, offering in the sense offering to the Buddhas, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, like, you know, the offering of the Dharma, one can, you know, print texts of the Dharma and distribute, for example. That can be a tremendous benefit, because whoever reads it will get benefit, you know. And then, you know, being spiritual friend, you know, talking to someone who is in pain, trying to listen to them and trying to give them the right kind of advice, you know, compassionately, the right skillful mean, and that can be tremendous, you know, offering. So all kinds of offering, whether it's physical offering of flowers and food and whatever, or that, you know, or something you own and something you don't own, they all generate merit. And through generating merit, the mind of the bodhicitta, the fearlessness, you know, going beyond poverty. Bodhicitta is going beyond poverty. You can't have that kind of mind if you have so much fear and mentality of poverty. When you go beyond that kind of mentality of poverty, then you can feel that you feel comfortable to open up yourself, that you can share with everyone. So that kind of mind, you know, is born through merit. And so therefore, here, the second chapter in the Bodhicharya Avatara is speak about offering and purification. So now you know, next time when you get this book, when you're reading on the second chapter, it says offering and purification, then you understand what you are reading on this context, on the second chapter. Maybe this is a good way how I have to read. So then you can know the whole thing. You know? So yesterday in that first is first be rid of evil, then be rid of self, finally be rid of thoughts. Wise is the one who knows this. You know, the rid of evil is negativity. The rid of self is the cause of all the negativities. It's ego, and finally be rid of thoughts. Thoughts is conceptual. Nampar Tokpa, Tibetan. You know, the thought. The name is called Namtok. Namtok is conceptualization. Conceptualization is like our conflicting emotions, which really have no direction. I mean, we could say, yes, I have a big deal, I got to do this, I got to do that. But finally, you know, many of those big deals doesn't end up no big deal. You know, many of those big deals end up being lost. Or let's put it that way. Many of those, you started with a big deal, you know, at the end, you know, like you couldn't handle it. It went out of your hand. You got no power. That's how life situations always happens. So it's almost like, you know, we create so many things. And so much aggression and neurosis. Here I'm talking about neurosis. I'm not talking about compassionate part. Compassionate parts, emotions are positive, which benefits being, and you let them grow. But negative part, negative emotions, you know, our, aggression and resentment and jealousy, which we are, like third of the time we are involved with that. It's true. You know, so much stirring, conflicting emotions, which doesn't serve any purpose. We know it's not going to help us. It's not going to make any purpose, except to distract us, except to create more negativity, lose our merit and strength. So that is almost without direction. One is distracted, and one is lost, and one is wandering. So that kind of, you know, thought, it says, finally be rid of thoughts. I mean, that kind of neurosis which does not benefit you or others, one should get rid of. And how do you get rid of? By understanding, you know, by understanding the essence of emptiness. That all these phenomena have no real substance. You know, they're all interdependent origination. As I said, there is no such thing as one entity which is totally bad, or which is totally this, or which is totally anger, or which is totally desire. No such thing factor just gives the desire, or just gives the, you know, anger. You know, you can feel desire to someone, but at some point you don't feel desire to someone. Your emotion changes. Before you know, you have so much desire to someone, at some point, you know, you want to go run away from them. Before you want to be like one, like a crazy glue stick to something else. At some point, then you want to run away as far as possible. Maybe another planet, if possible. That shows that there is no entity which really like says, this is the real thing, you know, where you can count on. It shows, you know, all these things have no real substance. The phenomena doesn't have any substance. If such is so, then we have a good reason to be angry. Oh, this is the entity of anger, this is the entity of jealousy, this is the entity of desire, this is the entity of that. This is all interdependent for the time being coming together, and then as situation changes, their purpose changes, their meaning changes. So does ours. So from that point, you know, the essence is, there is no essence in that. It's just like factors coming together, interdependent. As long as that factor stays, you know, there is that connection. And once they begin to change, then your emotion begin to change. So the question is also, other question is, should you trust such an emotion, transitory emotion? Is that how you're going to keep going, making your whole life trusting on a transitory emotion? You cannot. from a sensible point of view, to trust on that kind of emotional situation all the time will be endless. Same thing but a different form. You go through. Therefore, it is important to do spiritual practice. Spiritual practice means looking deeper into ourselves, our inner peace, our inner mind, a clarity, a state of awakening from all this trip, endless, unnecessary, confusing trip. That if we dedicate our life to an endless, unnecessary trip like that, then life will go 1 day, 2 days, days goes to week goes to months goes to year goes to like a decade, and then 2 decades, and then 1 day, one is coming close to dying, and still, even you are dying, you plan things what to do next. And my teacher, His Holiness, His Holiness Dujum Rinpoche, His Holiness Dujum Rinpoche, and His Holiness Dujum Rinpoche, he wrote a teaching. There's a prayer by him. In that prayer, he said, "May I not plan at the time of death. Please bless me." Our ceaseless, unnecessary, planning, continuously, like continuously unnecessary thing, which doesn't lead us anywhere at the end, except having a burden of lots of negative karma due to our negative thoughts and aggression and neurosis and so forth. It's true. So the pain and suffering is still there. Like different situation changing, you are working with that. But same kind of fear, same kind of pain continuously. Why? Because of no bodhicitta mind. Lack of understanding on compassion, lack of understanding on emptiness, the view of emptiness. That's why it's important to do meditation every day. When you sit, you're connecting to your essence. First you go through the shamatha meditation, and then gradually, whatever the practice is, meditation practice, and it calms your mind. Your minds get clear. And then there is an insight to that awareness, which transcends from that kind of unnecessary chattering, neurotic chattering, and then you achieve a peace, a moksha, a liberation from all this phenomenal thing. And once you achieve that moksha, then it's like changeless. Wherever you go, whoever you be with, you're happy. It says, in the calling the Lama far away teaching of His Holiness Dujum Rinpoche, there's a prayer say, now whoever you be with, wherever you are, I'm state of uninhibited naked ease. Uninhibited naked ease. So always mind is free and relaxed because you're not confused. You have realized the essence. Many problematic situations which seems a big deal before, now they're not big deal because they are constant change. There is no essence to that. It uplifts your awareness. So, whoever you stay with, wherever you stay with, your mind is always at ease. That's why, the sanity which is within us, this powerful mind, precious bodhicitta within us, it needs to be awakened. So finally be rid of thoughts first one is to get rid of all those negativity thoughts. Wise is the one who knows this. Through meditation, we can establish firmly the view of emptiness. Out of the two merits, the relative merit and ultimate merit. The relative merit bring us, creates the right condition that where we can practice without any kind of hindrance, because the karma creates that kind of ground condition for you to experience. That's the thing. That's how karma creates. This extraordinary view of emptiness, impregnated with compassion and combined with the accumulation of merit, completely destroy the veils that obscure knowledge. Obscure knowledge means they obscure the essence. Not knowledge of the dualistic knowledge, but here is speaking the non-dual knowledge. the essence. The purpose of such meditation is to act as the antidote to our own negative emotion and their traces, and indirectly to the obscuration of all other beings. Now, what's the purpose of meditation? The purpose of meditation is to act as the antidote, when thoughts arises. Now, let me put it this way: there are different kinds of meditation. In the Hinayana teaching, how does one work with aggression? When the aggression arises, you visualize on kindness. Through that kind of meditation, you overcome aggression. Feeling love for them, knowing that they are suffering due to their ignorance. They don't want to suffer either. I mean, who wish to suffer? None of us wish to suffer. But they go through that anyhow, and due to their karmas and neurosis, they have no control to that. And they act out of control. When they try to harm you, they harm you out of control, definitely. They don't try to harm you literally in some way. They have no power. They're under the influence of that aggression and neurosis. It's almost like they have no control to their mind. So when they act out of that, if you know that, you would have compassion. That they are acting out of their acting out of their neurosis without control. And if I react to that, then I'm also crazy. So you feel compassion naturally to them. And when that happens, then you are when that love comes out, that is become the antidote to that aggression. Your aggression is subside, as well as you create the space and ground for them to heal. They also get the message. If someone yells at you and you become very open to them, maybe first they will get even more angry. How come? Maybe you're making fun of me, or whatever. Then the next moment they will realize this is something going beyond, and they begin to wash themselves, and it makes a sense of humor, and they think there's no reason for me to act in a stupid way like that, and become friends. There's so many ways how that message can be received. Or maybe not directly, maybe not for one day, not for 2 days, but step by step over the time, no matter how difficult it is, really, how difficult it is, the compassion and non-violence is the winner at the end. And with aggression, yes, you can kill your enemy, you can harm them temporarily, but on the long run you harm yourself so big that it could take so long time to purify. Yes, a powerful country can destroy a smaller country with missiles and with the tremendous power of arms and everything. But in the long run, it will not be a winner. It will haunt in so many different ways. So aggression never wins. Neurosis never wins. Non-violence, it may not seem sometimes working immediately at that moment, but the patience and non-violence and tolerance, it will win at the end. Because there is power in that. So from the antidote for aggression is love. And in the Hinayana practice, the antidote for desire, the monks meditate on skeleton. So when the desire comes, then the monks took the vow of celibacy, so they have to overcome that, attachment. So then they meditate on, the opposite sex, who they're attracted to, whichever sex they're attracted to. Let me put it that way these days. The things are changing, times are changing, so one has to go with the time. So whoever one is attracted to, then you visualize them in skeleton. It's true, behind your skin, you're a skeleton there. And then, all the guts hanging in your lungs, and the mucus and blood, and all those things. When you begin to visualize a lot and meditate, obviously you have no desire. That's the antidote to overcome their desire. Because what is the point for a monk to overcome the desire? You know, desire itself first seems to be, no danger. It just, if it's love, it's fine. But then with desire, then afterwards there is jealousy. And then with that anger, if he or she doesn't work fits the way you want them to be, then you get angry. Then, unimaginable trips we go through. I don't have to explain that to you. You know that so well. We all know this so well. So therefore, a monk or nun who have dedicated their life, towards try to go beyond this suffering and beyond this confusion and beyond this chain, they commit themselves not to, have their mind go through that, because it creates disturbance and suffering for them. Therefore, that particular person, they choose to be a monk or nun, a celibate vow, so that they are protected from that kind of situation to happen with. But that doesn't mean that only monks and nuns have opportunity to get enlightened and go beyond. The rest of the householder, rest of the people, us, we don't have opportunity. That's not the case. Now, as a person who shares a life with someone else, like a partner, like your friend, your partner, they have even greater opportunity, in fact, than a monk. Because each other become like a teacher to themselves. If you can have patience. If you can truly be like a spiritual friend, then you've got to be very strong to do that. But if you're not strong in doing that, then it could be like a bomb to each other. Then it's like, holding a sword and sword fighting all the time. Then you have bruises and blood coming out, hands dangling, huffed, and it's like no place to rest, like you're chased all the time and you're fighting each other all the time. Then there is turmoil, total turmoil, So it's really into your hand. Now, how do you prepare for that? You don't have to learn how to be neurotic, because we are very graduated in that. We have master degree, we have PhD actually. Not master degree, PhD we have. Now we have to learn how to be compassionate, how to be patient. That's what we need to develop. We have to learn that. How to bring out patience, how to really try learning to work with one's partner, no matter how difficult the situation is. In some way, that's like learning how to work with oneself and the world. And depending on situations, sometimes if it gets very strong, you can handle. It's also good to give space, But then it's really, that's up to you to decide. No one can make the judgment, when to do that or when not to do that. There's so many different ways. It depends on the karma of the beings also. So anyhow, fundamentally, never give up. No matter how things happen, even they wrong us, even you feel they wrong us, even they didn't treat us, they are object of compassion, definitely. Because they themselves are going through suffering and confusion. And of course, you are also going through that. But if you lose that compassion and instead act upon aggression and neurosis, then you further put more oil to the flame, and it can completely engulf you and destroy you and others. So you need like the cool breeze of compassion, so to speak, from time to time, even in the midst of the heated, discussion and heated argument and heated disagreement you have, the cool breeze of compassion should always come, which is patience and patience, where you listen and you try to hear them, and so many skillful means. The one who is skillful will able to ride through these waves of obstacle, the waves of confusion, and finally go beyond the suffering. But one who is not skillful will be stuck in the waves of take to the bottom of it. How to survive there in the midst of the clouds of neurosis, in the clouds of confusion, is compassion. That when you have the lamp of compassion, there's no darkness. Even it's so dark, and even your lamp is a very weak, your wick is not thick enough, and your wick is kind of very thin, and the winds are so strong, the flame is hardly, flame is so hard to survive, but still there is some light. You're not totally fallen into darkness. That's the thing. As long as you have that compassion, there's a light, and that's going to guide you, and it's going to take you across the stormy wind of neurosis, and finally to this place of joy and liberation. That's how, the whole life is here. How we construct our life and life experience is here within us. That's why precious bodhicitta mind is so important. It's so precious, because it's this mind which is going to bring us happiness and freedom, not our aggression and neurosis. So antidote, how does one brings out those antidotes? It will come naturally. If there is a lamp, there's light, you don't have to think, oh, where do I find the road? Naturally, the lamp will show you the way. The light will show you the way. You don't have to fear about being fallen from a cliff, because there is a light, naturally. So the light of compassion will naturally show you the way, how to be, how to follow your life. And that's the power. It's the natural power of that light, natural power of that mind. You're protected. You're not in the danger of falling from the cliff and breaking your legs and getting lost or being killed, but you're protected naturally. Even the flame is not stable, like wind is very strong. Right now, that's how our life is about. So much, habits of neurosis is like the clouds, like waves of ocean coming, and our compassion is just like barely surviving in some way, like a flame which is like about to go off. It's not like a mag light. Slowly will become a mag light, strong torch. But first it's like a flame, even without a glass cover, just the flame itself, barely surviving. So negative emotions, antidote to our own negative emotions, and then for like for desire is they meditate on, in the Hinayana tradition, one meditates on impurities, and then for aggression on love, and then for attachment, like where there's strong attachment to the phenomena, one understand that the whole phenomena is structured to atoms, and atom has no essence, finally is emptiness. That's the understanding of that. From the Mahayana point of view, the understanding of phenomena is interdependent, which I spoke about a lot just earlier. There's no reality on one subject. The subject can change. A bad person can become good too. So there is always hope, no matter how things are. Anyone has a seed of enlightenment, they can all be awakened into their state. They can be awakened to the state. So therefore, interdependent origination and its essence being empty, those kind of realization and the wisdom and knowledge will cut through, obscurations and negativities. And that's how a Dharma person has to practice like that. That's how you become a Dharma practitioner. Otherwise, if you just keep entertaining your habits and neurosis, then you're just going to be the same as always before, back to square number one. The confusion will remain, the ego will be there, the aggression and neurosis like the stormy wind, strong on the ocean will be there, the waves going to be there, the confusion is going to be there. You can never come out of it. That's why every day I said, please do 1 hour of meditation. Sit. That's the time you are purifying yourself. That's the time you are bringing your light. That's the time you are healing yourself. That's the time you are protecting yourself. I mean, when we talk about the bodhicitta mind is the escort, is the protector, is the healer, is the friend of all the being. I mean, this kind of precious mind we need to awaken for our liberation as well as for the liberation of all. Otherwise, there would be no chance, never a chance. Our life will go like this forever until we die. And then at the time of death, does the life end? It doesn't end there. There's always a life after death. And some may say, oh, I don't know, I don't believe life after death, or I don't know. Don't know, that's good enough reason to think about, actually. Because you're not sure what could happen, you know. So better prepare that. Instead of getting a shock, whoa, there's something else here, you know. So that's a good enough reason, you know. And if you know very clearly, then there's no problem, you know. So there is life after death. There is no question of that. If there is no life after death, everyone should be the same. All human beings, you know, have no karma then. The conditioning of karma make us each unique, you know. They say the people of yoga are like a unique species. So, well, each one of us are like a unique person, you know, each our own makeups, own karma. I'm just joking about New York. You know. Each one of us are like own special in our own makeup. And if there is no karma, let's suppose if there is no karma, suddenly we should all, you know, I don't know, come out of nowhere, manifest out of, you know, just suddenly, and everyone should act or react in the same way. But everyone is different in their mental makeup and their liking and disliking and all kinds of things. That shows that each and every one of us has different karma. So, you know, the karma is like that. So without a cause, you know, it didn't happen, it happens with a cause. Once this goal has been achieved, all concepts, including that of emptiness, must be abandoned. You know, now, at the first, we need to develop, you know, a great sense of compassion, aspiring compassion, and then, you know, actualizing compassion. First, you aspire. Now you know what is good and bad. You know, through your hearing the Dharma, he said, Dharma is good at the beginning, Dharma is good in the middle, Dharma is good at the end. Why it's really, without Dharma, even we have this compassion in ourselves, we don't know. Because we don't know, because we are like obscured by these waves of emotions and ocean of thoughts and ocean of neurosis. And through hearing the Dharma, we know now, you know, we can experience our compassion, we can experience our ultimate compassion, we can experience our relative compassion, and then we can act on that and we can achieve the state where we want to reach. And we can, and we don't have to go through the pains and suffering of samsara and the lower realms, which we all aspire for. It's through the Dharma one knows that, you know. And now once knowing what is the you know, profit and what is the loss of, you know, negative karma being, you know, falling down into samsara, and the gain of that aspiring, that bodhicitta mind, you know, working on that, how one can achieve the higher realization and happiness. One knows that. You know, now you have the destiny in your hand in one way. After all, your experience of this present existence is your creation. It's not creation of somebody else. We can blame it to the gods, we can blame it to the Buddhas, we can blame it to Bhagavan, or we can blame it to anyone. We can blame to the trees, we can blame to the moon, we can blame to the sun, we can blame to our grandparents. Oh, you know, genetically you're crazy, so I feel crazy too. You know, we can blame that. you know. And today we are getting, you know, sometimes try to trick our karma, you know, saying that, oh, my grandfather may be genetically not so, he has a genetically crazy substance, so therefore he passes to me, you know. It's nothing like that, you know. So, definitely there is some karma. This karma comes like, you know, in our bloods and bones, from the family hereditary. You know, there is certain like some kind of when you go to a doctor, they ask, does anyone in your family has blood pressure? You know, so if you have blood pressure, they try to ask that question. I think there is something link. There is karma because you're born into that line. There is some kind of link on the physical level, but to say that on a mental level, oh, I have compassion because my grandfather was very neurotic, you know. That doesn't work like that, you know. It's up to you whether you awaken that or not, you know. So we have so many sometimes excuses, try to prove that I'm right, but someone else did the mess, you know. So we can never do that. We have to take responsibility to our own mess. We created this mess, we are confused, then we can get out of it. That's the beauty. When you accept the truth, you know, the truth has a light, and that light shows you the way, how to get out of it at the same time. It's a powerful message. So when you accept one's own wrongdoing, then it naturally shows you, by accepting that, it naturally shows you a way out of it. But when you deny that wrongdoing, it doesn't show you the way out of it, because you are away from that truth. You know, you're not connected with the reality. You try to, you know, hide from that, or ignore that, or deny that. So ignoring, denying, and hiding, it doesn't relate to the situation properly. You have to connect to the raw situation, whatever that is, how painful it is. When you connect to that, that's where you find the answer how to get beyond that. You know. So the levels of, you know, antidote to our negative emotions is applied through a practice of relative compassion and ultimate compassion, and then purifying all obscuration. You know, not only oneself, but working, trying to purify the obscuration of other beings. Once this goal has been achieved, all concept, including that of emptiness, must be abandoned. You know, even the notion of emptiness has to be abandoned. Otherwise, as early we went through the discussion last night and this morning, that even holding to the notion of emptiness is like pulling you down. It's a bondage to that. You know, the mind will not be free. You won't. You know, it will be a cause for your the notion of survival. You know, in fact, you cannot even hold to emptiness. If you try to hold to emptiness, you're just making something out of your mind. That's not even emptiness. It says if you try to meditate on emptiness, it's a fake. Because how are you going to meditate on emptiness? But at least even that is how it is on the truth level. You have to meditate. You know, that's the way, because it's like, how do you get rid of your confusion? It's like a tire of a car. How do you get rid of a tire? Keep driving. Finally, it will wear off. You know, so you've got to keep meditating. Finally, it will wear off. You know, that's how it is. So discipline is important. As much as discipline is a creation, but at the same time, discipline is important as long as one is still living in a dualistic framework. So once this goal has been achieved, all concept, including that of emptiness, must be abandoned. So the Bodhisattva on the 10th Bhumi abandoned even the wish to become fully enlightened. And that, the wish to become fully enlightened is what has put the Bodhisattva to be on the 10th Bhumi. Otherwise he would be on the 11th Bhumi. Wise is the one who knows this. This refers to those who knows the different stages of the path and its essential points, and who practice them in the correct order so that they attain full realization. The Dharma has to be practiced in a correct order. It's important. That's why, for instance, first one has to learn the Dharma, then reflect the Dharma, then practice the Dharma. Step by step, you gain experience and confidence and strength, and we are very clear with that. Same thing when we do the Mundra practice, as I was talking yesterday. First you do the prostration, there's refuge, bodhicitta mind, and then after that there is mandala practice, or Vajrasattva practice, mandala practice, and the Guru Yoga practice. Each one of those gradual sequence has a purpose and a meaning to that. When one first does the prostration, it's like shedding off your image, your pride and ego. That's the first thing. What prostration does? Prostration is like shedding your ego and pride. Because when we bow down it's like letting go of our pride. And that's actually, it's something very beautiful from the spiritual point of view. Because then you let go that and you're meeting in the most pure space, where there is no stains of neurosis. So that's how originally it's supposed to be in the Far East, in Japan and Korea and China and Tibet. When people meet, they kind of bow down. Meaning like they're shedding their pride and ego and everything. The original idea was like that. Now today is a little, tainted. So when they bow down, who bows down far deeper, who do bow more, who do bow less, you kind of check on that. Oh, I shouldn't bow that much, So maybe I bow with my eyes like that. I will bow my head, but my eyes going to be up. And I heard in Japan, the superior kind of bows, the high boss kind of bows a little lower, and the one who is working underneath him bows far more deeper. And that's kind of like, more expression of different thing rather than what I'm talking about. But the original idea was supposed to be like that. The most impressive thing I've seen in Japan, when I was in Japan, it was at the Tokyo train station. I saw two beggars, Now, the beggars don't run a IBM or something, and they're both sitting on the floor eating beggars. And one beggar was leaving, the other was sitting, and he bowed down so deeply to the one when he was about to leave. That really makes me just like amazing. That was the most genuine bowing I've seen in Japan among those two beggars. Rest, I have questions. Really, that really amazes me. It took me for a while to watching and reflecting on myself. That's either, like in the past, I heard about stories like great unconventional master yogis, like the teachers. I thought maybe one is the student and one must be the teacher. Or otherwise, they both have such a respect. It's a genuine respect. That really moved me. Two beggars bowing each other. And he bowed with such a, discipline and such an expression, a genuine bowing. And they have no, they're not doing any business deal or anything, They're just naturally, they found the food and one was eating the food and one has to go somewhere, and he really bowed with total openness. That was the most moving bowing I've ever seen, beside doing prostration to one's Lama. So, the first stage of the Ngundu practice, prostration, is shedding our image of ego and the pride. So we don't we do it place of respect, such as the Lama, such as in front of the Buddha or the Dharma or the Sangha. So when that stage creates us to be more open, but even we do that, then yes, we do shed a lot of our image, a lot of our pride, and then we do begin to feel more open. And then once we feel open, there's a sense of like purity. The purity, now I have developed a sense of purity, and with that comes the arrogance. I'm a little special now. I'm a good Dharma practitioner. I'm compassionate. I've done good things, you know. You have lots of credentials for you to take place. And then the next stage of the Ngunda practice is mandala. In mandala, you offer everything. You know, your body, speech, and mind. Then even the credential is offered, there's nothing left. So there's a sequence of the practice, a gradual practice, makes you grow, makes you stronger, makes you more free, makes you more open. There is a purpose and meaning why the Ngunda practice is designed step by step in a sequence like that. So every practice, shamatha meditation goes first, then after shamatha there's the insight meditation. Vipassana and shamatha. Shamatha and vipassana is different. Shamatha makes your mind calm. You know, first of all, our mind, which is very turbulent, very busy mind, it needs to be calmed down. So once this mind is calmed down, then the clarity of the insight is experienced on the second stage. Like if you want to view underneath the ocean, or let's say a lake, and if the lake is constantly churning up and down and then all the muds are very murky, there's no way there's calmness in that lake. So once the wind subsides, then the lakes subside. Once the lakes become calm, then all the muds become calm automatically. Once the muds goes down on the floor, then you are able to view all the different colors of fish, you know, corals and turquoise or whatever, all the things inside the ocean and the lake, you're able to view like that. So same thing, first we need to have the calmness of the mind. Without the calmness of the mind, insight is impossible in some way. Therefore, shamatha goes first, and after shamatha comes the insight, vipassana. You know. Now, vipassana means extraordinary insight. And sometimes a lot of people are doing vipassana, but they think they're doing vipassana, they're just simply doing shamatha. You know. Because in order for a genuine vipassana to take place, first your mind has to be calm, like a calm ocean, Without that calmness, the insight is not possible to realize because it's so murky. You know, until your mind is calm, you can view the clarity, the insight of it. It doesn't manifest that. So mind needs to develop calmness first. And after calmness, then comes the insight. You know. Then insight also needs stability. And the stability comes from the shamatha. You know, it's the insight stability. One can call the shamatha, you know, on that level, jivarnapa, like the shamatha of insight. You know, different mental states. Like it's calm and it's clear. It is like, you know, now it's so clear. You're not denying, you're very precise. Kind of like very precise. You know, blue color is there, green is there, blue and pink is there, pink and red is there. You know, everything is very precise. You cannot escape from that. So when we talk about emptiness, it's not that we are denying the whole fact. It's very precise. But at the same time, you just relate to that and, you know, and you don't make up. You know, it's almost like blue is blue, green is green, yellow is yellow, red is red. You don't think that, oh, now red could be blue and blue could be green and maybe I will mix this and maybe I will do that. That doesn't come. It's almost like the Zen saying, when I eat, I eat. When I walk, I walk. When I, you know, when I talk, I talk. It's just like you do it. It's almost like touching and going, touching and going, touching and going. It's not holding there, but like touching and going in some sense. So life is there. The whole life situation is presented to you there. Things are happening, but at the same time, you're not getting caught up to the display of the life. You connect to that. It's not that you, okay, now I'm a Buddhist, everything is empty, nothing is happening, you know. Just like holding this big blank empty, you don't walk like that. That is not Buddhism. That's nihilism. There's a difference, there's a big danger of not understanding the nature of emptiness. You know, how does, on the path of Mahayana in the Buddhist teaching, you know, one has to practice compassion. You practice it, you bring the compassion, and then you bring the wisdom together. step by step, you have a deeper understanding of compassion and wisdom. First, we may be practicing compassion more on a grosser level. We feel things, we have a strong certain level of attachment, and then we have a certain level of attachment to the object of compassion where we are practicing, whether however they may be related to, they may be related to us, they may be not related to us, or whether the person is sick or whether this person is not sick. Certain level of like your belief, engrave your emotions like strongly onto the object. You have belief into that, and step by step it's get less and less, and then you just act, and then at the same time you just know the essence being empty. So it's a gradual experience, which develops on the path. So step by step, like shamatha, then vipassana, and the ultimate compassion, the union of wisdom and compassion, they attain, practice them in the correct order so that they attain full realization. It is very important, therefore, to know how to practice properly and not to be satisfied with a vague or partial knowledge of the path. You have to know the Mahayana path very clearly. What is generating of compassion. There was a story, how I believe it was historical Buddha, or one of the Buddha, the first generation of compassion. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have compassion before that. We all have the essence of compassion, but when did he generate that compassion? It was in the hell realm, in one of his impure incarnation, being in the hell realm. That Buddha, before he became a Buddha, in one of his impure incarnation as a karmic being, due to one's karma, like in our dream we go through nightmares and so forth. Of course, even they are not real, but we go through. That's how life is like that. So due to one's karma, he was like plowing a field with another companion of the hell realm, someone else going through that. So they were plowing a field, and then the rulers of the hell realm, like hitting them with lashes, like using them like bulls. And now these days, in America, all the fields are plowed with tractors, but old days there is like cows and buffaloes and horses. That's how they plow the field. So due to karma, like they are plowing a field, first of all, there was no necessary for a field in a hell realm, but anyhow, it's the karmic experience, like they feel they're plowing a field. Just like a dream, we're going through a certain experience, plowing a field. And then the rulers of the hell realm was lashing them and faster and do it better and so and so. And then at that time, this Buddha felt compassion. So much suffering, He asked, can I take, why don't you relieve him from this duty and I will pull myself. He felt compassion for his companion. There's so much suffering he has, but also feeling suffering what his companion is going through. And at that time, the ruler of the hell said, each person has to go through their own karma. What are you saying? And hit him really hard. And due to that first arising of compassion, of benefiting someone, he passed away. And next incarnation, then he was born in the heavenly realms. I'm talking about the sixth sphere of heavenly realm, not the way it is described on the eternal heavenly realm from the Christianity point of view. I'm talking about the sixth wheel of life kind of heavenly realm, where God's realm, demigods, human realms, animals realm, hungry ghosts, and hell realm, the sixth realm of life. So being born in the heavenly realm, and that's how, then I think then gradually the compassion, the seed of compassion is awakened, and but stronger and stronger. And then finally, after a long time of being on the path of bodhisattvahood, the practice of compassion all the time, then finally attain the ultimate enlightenment, liberation from this cyclic chain of bondage. So, generational compassion, it's generational compassion is very important. So when we generate compassion, when we take the vow of compassion, we should practice as much as we can, because it's the greatest celebration, is the greatest thing that happened in the existence of our life, is to awakening our mind into compassion. The most precious healer, the most precious purification, the most precious guidance that we are awakening. What fortunate can be that we can be more than that. We have the fortunate that fortune to think about and act on compassion is extremely fortunate. If we wish to help beings, we have to be able to liberate them from suffering and dispel their ignorance. That's how we're going to help. If we really want to help, then we'll help to liberate them from their bondage of being in samsara, from their neurosis and suffering. Suffering is caused by neurosis, and we have to help them how to, being a spiritual friend, how you can remove them. And you see, even sometimes you have to be very straightforward and very painful. The other person may not like to hear it, but that is the true spiritual friend, how you work with them to overcome and dispel the cause of suffering and the suffering itself, and dispel this. This means that we ourselves must have true realization. This means if we have to help someone else, we should practice to a great extent to ourselves, and practice on the path of compassion. Practice the path of compassion. And this can only be achieved through endeavor and development of clear insight and mental clear insight, of knowing the path so well, and the lamp of bodhicitta, holding to that. And then developing shamatha meditation. Through that, our mind is calm. This is how to develop relative bodhicitta and begin helping beings. So when you have shamatha meditation, calm abiding state, and then the endeavor of relative compassion, the concern for others, when you have concern for others, even you have certain disagreement, which is your habit will decrease slowly. You can't change the whole world instantly. Neither you can change yourself instantly, because our habits are very strong. But as long as the lamp is there, it's going to take us forward, not pull us back. We are walking, we are making progress all the time. So that's how helping being is. Before taking the vow of bodhicitta, a bodhisattva becomes friend with oneself. Bodhisattva become not only friend with others, also become friend with oneself, being compassionate, being understanding one's emotion, neurosis, but willing to work with that, not being afraid to work with that. Because you have no choice. Once the light is there, the darkness can take you over. The darkness has lost its power over you. It's going to lead you and show you the way naturally. No person with a good sense is going to jump from the cliff, when there's light. They're going to follow the route, how to get across that. So before taking the vow of bodhicitta, we should bear in mind what it is we are aiming at and how we should proceed. We then recite the 7-branch prayer with our thoughts directed to the ideal of bodhicitta. The first 7 branches: homage to all the Buddhas, those thus gone, to the sacred law, immaculate, supreme, and rare, and to the Buddha's heir, H-E-I-R? Air, and Buddha's air, an ocean of good qualities, that I might seize this precious attitude, I will make a perfect offering. This is followed by the branch of offering. I offer every fruit and flower, every kind of healing salve, all the precious thing the world affords, and all pure waters of refreshment. Every mountain rich and filled with jewels, all sweet and lonely forest groves, the trees of heaven garlanded with blossom, and branches heavy, laden with their fruit. the perfumed fragrance of the realm of gods and men, all incense, wish-fulfilling trees, the trees of gem, all crops that grow without the tiller's work, and every sumptuous object worthy to be offered. Lakes and tarns adorned with lotuses, and plaintive with a sweet voice cries of water birds, and lovely to their eyes, and all things wild and free, stretching to the boundless limits of the sky. I will hold them in my mind into the supreme Buddhas, and their heirs will make a perfect offering. Oh, think of me with love, compassionate lords, sacred objects of my gift, accept this offering. So, from our mind, we make the offering to the Buddhas, so that one and all being can achieve enlightenment, free from the bondage of neurosis. Here we make an offering of everything we have, along with everything else in the universe. Not only just like what's in Santa Barbara, but the whole United States, the whole universe, in fact. Then we offer our own bodies. Whether or not we have a perfect body, we should offer it sincerely. This is a method of turning away from negative actions on the physical level. Next, we make the offering of scented beds, celestial garments, exquisite perfume, incense, song of praise, and so on. With all this offering, it is not quantity but quality that counts. Quality concerns both the materials and the intention with which they are offered. The intention has to be very important, because the bodhicitta mind is the intention. If the intention is wrong, then material is tainted. The object has been sidetracked. Your purpose is sidetracked. Then you're no longer on the bodhicitta path. If it's for some kind of your own personal satisfaction, then you lost the view of bodhicitta. The material offered should not be things that have been obtained dishonestly. Our intention should not be spoiled by the 8 worldly preoccupations, such as gain or loss, pleasure or pain, praise or criticism, and fame or infamy. If you're doing that for fame, or like I don't want size, I want to be praised, with that kind of intention, then you have lost the intention to benefit being. You're just being holding to, your mind is directed to that kind of mental thought or passion and neurosis, just concern for your ego. Then the destination is also different. You can reach the enlightened destination. You will reach due to the positive action of helping others or offering. You will gain some merit, but it's not going to lead you to enlightenment, because your intention is different. When we talk about offering that do not belong to anyone, such as all the beautiful landscape in the world and all the different universe that have no owners, at first glance they may not seem to have anything to do with us. What's the use of mentally offering something we do not own? But in the Abhidharma it is said, all world systems are the result of karma, and according to the entrance to the middle way, the infinite variety of beings in universe has been created by the mind. All universe and beings are the result of karma. The universe that we inhabit and our shared perception of it are the result of common karma. Such as America, common karma. We all share and perception of its landscape and the weather and the political situation and accepting right now is President Bush, whether you like it or not. He's the president. It's like we common karma, and so forth, and enjoying the weather of Santa Barbara, common karma. Likewise, the places that we will experience in future rebirths will be the outcome of the karma that we share with other beings living there. The action of each of us, human or non-humans, have contributed to the world in which we live. We all have a common responsibility for our world and are connected with everything in it. So therefore you can make that offering, even something which you don't own. You're responsible, for a better world. Especially passion, you think of others' well-being more important than oneself. So therefore you make that offering not only for yourself, but for the enlightenment and benefit of all beings. This is why we can make an offering of it.